Welcome back. You're listening to the Nightside Project. Ethan Millett here, Alex Keary here. We're talking about some changes to Utah law that were made this legislative session, signed by Governor Herbert. Here in the state of Utah, a lot of people don't know this. You can have your criminal record expunged, even for some serious crimes, even for some felonies. We've got with us a special guest tonight, Matthew Higbee of Higbee & Associates. They specialize in criminal expungement, and they operate recordgone.com, which is where you can kind of test your own eligibility. Matthew, thanks so much for hanging on with us through the break.
My pleasure.
Now my question: we've got some folks on the line here, but here's a real quick one off the bat that we got via text. It says, if it's expunged, can you buy a gun?
Yes, your felony. If you get a felony expunged.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Wow.
That'd be something a lot of people, that might be a deal breaker for a lot of folks.
Well, I know a lot of guys are not allowed to own guns, period.
Sure. All right.
So would you, what about things like concealed carry?
Not sure how that affects a concealed and carry permit. I know those aren't an entitlement, so I think it may have some bearing on whether a person is granted or whether it is granted or denied. So
okay.
I couldn't give you an authoritative answer off the top of my head on that.
Alex, do we want to pick up the conversation on open carry? Could you imagine that? Look, Matthew, we sometimes talk about open carry here because it kind of pops up as an issue. Could you imagine a conversation where we had to talk about records expungement and open carry? That's well, walking into a dynamite shed with a match.
Let's go to the lines here. Well, okay, yeah, you got a question.
Really quickly, we kind of left a question hanging, Matthew, and that is, what is it about Utah that makes us so, for lack of a better word, progressive when it comes to criminal record expungement?
Attributed to anything other than, you probably had some good legislatures this time. It was Representative Julie Fisher up in Davis County and Senator Hilliard down in Cache and Rich County who just took a look at a bill and took a look at the law and saw some potential to make some improvements.
Yeah.
I can't really say anything other than that. I don't know about the psychology of Utah.
How was it better than in other states, our law?
Well, it did a few things that are kind of novel. A lot, some of it's very simple, but in Utah, prior to this, if a person got their record expunged, there's a waiting period. Well, actually, when someone's convicted of a crime, they have a sentence, probation, parole, and then when they complete that is when the waiting period starts. In the previous law, you had to pay all your fines and restitution before the waiting period would start.
So but that years.
Yeah, well, especially if you're like a low-income family, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that meant a lot of low-income people would never be able to qualify. Now they just need to pay it before they get their record expunged. So the waiting period is a time to show rehabilitation, and the Utah legislature said, hey, the ability to have money and discretionary income is not a sign of rehabilitation. It's a sign that you're good at earning money or saving money. And they took that component away, which makes a huge difference for people.
Yeah, well, I think it makes sense to do that. If you're going to offer it, then it shouldn't be discriminatory to people with lower income. Alex, let's pick up a phone call.
Yeah,
here.
So we got some folks who are concerned about this. So we're going to take some calls here. First, let's go to the lines. Let's go to Karina, I think, who's on the line and on the cell phone. Karina, you're on the Nightside Project.
Hi. I just have a question about the cost.
Sure.
I'm sure through his service there's legal fees and everything, but what if you just had a misdemeanor and wanted something expunged? Is there fees for that as well? And
there are fees. Matthew, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, there's. If you want to do it yourself, there's going to be fees at 3 different points. You have to pay the Utah Bureau of Criminal Identification, the BCI, a fee to apply. And if they say you're eligible, you have to pay a fee to get a certificate showing you're eligible. And then you take that certificate to the court, and you file a motion at the court, and there's a filing fee at the court level too. Altogether, the fees are less than $250. If you're going private counsel, we handle misdemeanor cases for $595, and that includes all the fees.
Okay.
Oh, really? So just flat rate.
And if it's do you guys get a little bit more expensive for the more heinous, I guess, records, I guess, that people might have?
Actually, you know what? In Utah, it's $595 across the board for us. on expungements. In other states, the prices go up higher, and if there's some complications with the case, it could be higher. But 95% of our clients in Utah just pay $5.95, and they get a money-back guarantee with it too.
Do you get a lot
and
of?
they can find you guys at recordgone.com, right?
Correct. And you can go on right now and just take the free eligibility test to see if they're even eligible.
I'm going to take the eligibility test out
for your high school misdeeds. Now let me ask
some
you,
parking tickets.
Let me ask this: we talked about drugs being one of the. You said drug charges were probably one of the more heavily pursued, expungement requests. So let me ask you, what about DUIs? Because that's eligible, but do you get a lot of people who are trying to get those DUIs cleared as well?
We do. Utah has a 10-year waiting period on that.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
A DUI expungement waiting period is longer than a felony expungement.
Yeah, felony's
period,
7 years?
Yeah, if a felony is eligible, it's 7 years.
Mark is on the line in Salt Lake. Mark, you're on the Nightside Project. Do you have a question for Matt?
Yeah, Matthew, I enjoy your program. I made a mistake. I got married too quickly, and I married this gal, and I got an annulment on it. And it's been 12 years, and I don't know where she is at all. But she was quite hateful, and she filed a protective order on me. I've gone to the courts now 4 times to Bloomquist, and if she doesn't appear, the protective order stays on me.
Okay, so it hasn't expired or anything?
Well, they say unless she shows up, then they'll expunge it. But if I don't know where she is,
yeah. Well, let's give Matthew a chance to respond. You deal with expunging protective records, any records of
protective orders?
Protective orders?
We don't, because those are civil records. Those are held in civil courts, and what we do is criminal record expungement. And that the area of civil record expungement is something that needs to be addressed, and I'm not aware of any state that has that, because your civil record is public in a lot of ways, and anyone could be sued for anything.
Yeah.
And if someone wrongfully files an eviction or unlawful detainer against you, even if you win it, it's still on your record, and a future landlord could look at that and think that you're a risk when really you might not be a risk at all.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things in Utah law in that regard that need to be addressed. Let's grab another phone call.
Now let's go up to Tremonton and Margaret, who's on the line here with us.
Line 10?
Yes. Margaret, you're on the Nightside Project. You there?
Hi, yes, it's actually Christine.
Oh, Christine, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I just wanted to make a statement. I have had my record expunged.
Okay. Would you like to share with us what it was?
Yeah, for possession. I was a meth addict.
Now, here's a question for you. You were able to get it expunged so you could really kind of start over fresh. Was that a fresh start for you, or have you relapsed at all?
Absolutely not. I have been clean for 13 years. I own my own business. I own a home now, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Well, Matthew, it sounds like she's kind of the poster child for this, because
testimonial there.
Owning a home and getting a loan for business and things like that, those are the kind of things that you'll be hindered in doing by a criminal record.
Exactly, and good for you, Christine. I mean, not only does she sound like she's done something wonderful, overcoming meth is an extremely huge accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want to know if she relapsed at all, because it's...
She's not uncommon. I mean, we have a lot of people who for whatever reason, they get involved in a controlled substance and get a problem early in their life, or even just at a bad point in their life. Even in the middle of life, we see people who just 2 or 3 years turn to a controlled substance, either prescribed or not prescribed, and it gets out of hand, and they have a dark period in the middle of an otherwise bright life. Mm-hmm. And giving people like Christine the chance to be free of that is a very good thing for states to do.
We're talking with Matthew Higbee of Higbee & Associates, who specializes in criminal record expungement, talking about a law that didn't, or a bill that passed, was signed into law that didn't get a lot of attention, but it deals with essentially letting you completely erase your criminal past. You walk away from it. You don't have to cop to it on applications for jobs or anything like that. You can buy a gun again. If you were convicted of a felony, you can get that expunged, purchase a gun again, own a gun again. You guys operate, Matthew, recordgone.com. I'm a guy, I've got something in my past, I want to get rid of it. It's not me anymore, and I want it just completely gone. I go to recordgone.com. What kind of questions are you going to ask me about my past? in order to get this thing expunged?
We're just going to ask the questions necessary to determine if you're eligible and a good candidate for the service, and it's about 10 different questions. But basically, just is your offense eligible? Have you met the waiting period? Have you done the requisite things like paying fines and restitution? And it takes about 5 minutes to determine eligibility for someone.
Mm-hmm. We got another text here. A lot of people can't believe it. If expunged, do you have to answer yes to past felonies and employment applications? And the answer is no. You don't have to answer yes to any of it.
Correct.
All right. Interesting.
Gone.